of sneaked up on me, this. I'll be honest with you, I bought it before I'd even realised I was going to buy it. Joe Strummer played one of these in the 101ers with the band that he was in before The Clash. So my inspiration for some of this week's jams, you know, that's where that came from. I think it looks great, this guitar. I have to keep doing this. I have to hold it under. Well, obviously I love it. You know, you can tell, I enjoy playing it. I've been positive about it, even the negative bits, you know. It's an original, it's a vintage original. What's not to love about that, eh? Hello everyone, good to see you. Welcome to the Guitaristas. So today, yeah, it's a Hofner. It's this, the Hofner Verythin. Look at that. Cool looking guitar, eh? It's a very thin, it's very cheap as well, I must say. Now, it kind of sneaked up on me, this one. Although I've been aware of the Hofner Verythin, I wasn't looking for one. But this popped up on my feed while I was, you know, as you casually looking online at guitars. This popped up, and I'll be honest with you, I bought it before I even thought about it. I thought, oh, look, a Hofner, oh, £289, oh, we'll review that. Click, it was in my cart and on the way. So, well, I'm quite excited that I have, and I'm looking forward to having a close look at this, to be honest with you. We had a little play. I did an unboxing of this on the TV channel, okay? So I've already had a little play of it, and I can report it sounded great, actually. So what I'm looking forward to doing today is having a deeper dive look. Obviously we're gonna take it apart and measure it all up and look inside it and, you know, stuff like that. And then have a proper play. Well, I say proper, it might be a bit rubbish, but we'll try and have a proper play and you know, get fully into it, okay? Obviously, that's going to take a while. If you're in a hurry and you just want to skip forward to hear what it sounds like or whatever, all the timestamps are in the description box, so you can go to wherever you want to be, okay, without hanging around listening to me bang on about Henrys or whatever, okay? If, however, you've got a little bit of time on your hands, you know what to do. Put me on pause, go and get a drink, come back, and then join me as we get stuck in to a Hofner Verythin. Cool, let's do it. So yeah, vintage reissue, or the Hofner Verythin was introduced in 1960, I believe, okay? At that point, Very was spelt with an I, okay? It was V-E-R-I thin, very thin. They changed that apparently in the year 2000, okay, when they also added a centre block. It was originally fully hollow, I believe. Here's a picture of an original 1961. As far as I can tell, most of them appear to have Bigsby's or a different kind of tailpiece, you know, rather than the modern Tune-o-matic setup, okay? Now this particular model is, as I understand it, a UK exclusive, okay? And it's a little bit cheaper than what they call the contemporary model, which I'll tell you a little bit more about in a second. But this particular one, yeah, dark stain, this one. This is dark stain matte. It's got a kind of a nice red hue to it. That's a good word, isn't it? Hue. Yeah, they do this in the dark stain matte. They do it in, I've had to look at my notes already. Black stain matte. They do it also in pearl gold and pearl blue. I think you can only get this, and this is the cheaper versions. As I say, these tend to range from, I paid $289 for this. I think they go up to about £350 sterling, which is obviously just over $400. So a fairly affordable guitar. I'll put a link to Reverb in the description box because you can see there a whole range, not just from the UK, you can get them in Europe probably. I don't know if you can get this particular model in the States, but you might be able to. But you can definitely get what they call a contemporary series, okay, which is slightly different in that I think, well, I can see it's got 4 knobs, and I think the top on that one's maple. This one, let's do the specs while we're talking about it. This has got a mahogany top, okay. It's got a maple back and sides, okay. Mahogany neck, set neck, as you can see. Mahogany set neck. It's a nice chunky neck, this, I will tell you. We'll look at the measurements in a short while. But yeah, so yeah, mahogany top, this, mahogany neck, maple back and sides, spruce centre block. Spruce centre block. I'm going to obviously pop the pickups out in a bit, so we'll have a look inside, see what's going on under there. Yeah, the fretboard on this is Jatoba, okay. It's got a real nice figurine to it, doesn't it? We'll have a closer look at that in a minute when we get the strings off. The frets look to be nice and chunky. I don't know what they call them, I didn't say, but they're nice and chunky. It's a 24.7 inch scale length on this, so on or about the Gibson scale length. I don't know what the nut's made of. When you get down to this price point with guitars, they don't often tell you this stuff, but it looks all right. Have a closer look at that in a minute. Headstock, I like the headstock on this. Looks nice, doesn't it? And obviously Hofner, you know, I mean, it's cool, isn't it? It's a cool brand. It's an original. It's a vintage original. What's not to love about that, eh? Tuners, they're these ones that potentially are made of cheese. And just looking at the back of the headstock there, Hofner, Germany, Schiet, 1887. I don't know what Schiet means, and I'm certainly not pronouncing it correctly, but, well, I imagine it means founded in 1887. Hofner, there you go. And made in China sticker, just to confirm that this is made in China. So there you go. It's a great looking guitar. It really is a great looking, I think it's a great looking guitar. I love this kind of shape. This, you know, it's kind of like the Gretsch shape, isn't it? Well, it is the Gretsch shape, isn't it? Who did it first? Who knows? Oh, I might find out later. But anyway, it's great. And this one's just got 1 volume and 1 tone and a 3-way switch. These are just called Hofner humbuckers, okay? And obviously it's got a stop tail and a tune-o-matic bridge, okay? So what we'll do now is we'll take the strings off and have a closer look at that stuff. But before we do that, ladies and gentlemen, let's weigh it. Here we go. It's a pretty light guitar, this. Let's have a look. £6 11 ounces. Just over 3 kilos. So it's funny, isn't it? Well, when a guitar's light like that, I always give it a little, oh yeah, thumbs up. It's because I like light guitars. Yeah, very cool. Here you go. Standard plated tailpiece, standard 70 grams, and it's the, I suppose it's a Nashville style tune-o-matic because it's quite thick. It's just got a couple of, I'm imagining, Chinese symbols on the back. If you can see that. There you go. And that weighs 58 grams. So, yeah, some pretty heavy duty hardware. Okay. So now we can, let's get that out of the way. So now we can just have a closer look, really, at the fit and finish while we're here. I'll just that fingerboard, the figuring in the Jatoba, I think that's really attractive. I think that really sets the guitar off, that. So it's quite unique, isn't it? It's cool. Let's have a look at the frets. I'm going to have to photograph that so we can see close up. There are no sharp edges. They are a bit cloudy, murky. Do with a good clean, I think. So yeah, I might give that board a little bit of a drink and give the frets a bit of a wipe before we play it. As I say, I have played it when we did the unboxing, and there was no but, and it sounded great. It sounded fine. So I didn't notice any issues at all. So, and there are no sharp edges. So they look nicely finished on the edge. I'm going to get the old camera out in a bit and do some close-ups, which I've probably dropped in already, actually thinking about it, haven't I? So you can have a look for yourself. My eyes are not, I can't see any. Look, I'll tell you what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that this first fret looks like it might not be pressed down fully. It might just be a shadow. I don't know. I'm going to do some close-ups now. Yeah, there you go. Those close-ups are in now, so we'll have a look. And but as I say, it hasn't caused any playing issues yet. So if it does later, I'll pick up on that. Okay. But yeah, you know, a cheap guitar, £289. So for that, it looks bloody good, to be honest with you. Yeah, body, as I said earlier, the construction is, you know, mahogany top, maple back and sides, spruce centre block. It's an inch and a quarter thick. And you can also see now from that shot there, you've got the binding on, yeah, turn it around that way. The binding on front and back. I don't know how that's done, but it does look attractive. And as you can see, it's so front and back goes all the way up the neck, all the way around the headstock, and is also inside the F-holes there. It's a matte, nice matte finish. I love the finishes like this. Obviously, it will get a little bit fingerprinty pretty damn quick. But the finish on the edges is good. You can see, you know, you can see the spray. You can see it's painted, but it's, you know, it's pretty good. Yeah. Yes, so tuners, yeah, they're, I just don't, yeah, they, you know, you can feel the play in them straight away. Didn't seem to affect tuning stability. I mean, I don't think that does, because I don't think a tuner can be pulled back anyway. I just think it's, when you've got slightly rubbish tuners, it just makes it a little bit harder to tune. But once it's in tune, they don't tend to slip. It's just getting it there and providing the nuts well cut, it, you know, they're not a problem. And you know, if you watched last week's film, you'll know what I mean. If the nut and the tuners are kind of cheap, you know, forget it. But this, there weren't any tuning problems. I know that. And again, if that changes, we'll pick up on it later. Okay. So yeah, that's that, isn't it? Yeah, we touched on the headstock. Shit, 1887, Hofner were. Or they were shit in 1887. There's nothing shit about this guitar, I can tell you. I couldn't resist that, could I? I mean, come on. Give me a break. Right, moving on. So one of the first things you notice about this guitar when you pick it up is the chunky old neck. So yeah, let's take a look at the profile and measurements. Okay, here's the neck measurements and profile at the first fret. Now the specs say it's got a 44mm nut, but I've measured and double checked. I'm getting 43mm. Okay, and as you can see, it's got quite a deep, full profile. It's kind of got a little bit of a V to it. It's quite nice, that. And here's the neck profile and measurements up at the 12th fret. So it looks to get a tiny bit rounder, and it's also, according to my measurements, a tiny bit shallower up here, about 1/10 of a mil, according to my measurements, but they can be a little bit hit and miss, to be honest with you. It's a rough guide. Let's look at the pickup readings. Start on the neck, humbucker. That's reading 8.12 kilo ohms or 3.40 Henrys. And over to the bridge. Yeah, much higher again, 15.24 kilo ohms. 5.43 Henrys, okay, and middle reading there is 5.35 kilo ohm with them both on, 2.23 Henrys. There you go. And now, for me, at least, one of the most exciting bits where we take the pickups out and have a look and see what's underneath. Here we go. You can see the thickness of the top there. There, where it joins the block, starts there. Nice old chunk of neck joint, I suppose that is. But yeah, all solid all the way through. Pickups, yeah, no distinguishing markings apart from an N for neck, presumably, and a B for bridge. Okay. There you go. That's that. Let's put those back in. Now, obviously solid block, so what that does tell us is that the pots, yeah, if you wanted to replace those or look at them, which we're not going to do now because I'm not going to take them out, let's have a feel, see if we can. It's quite a big old F-hole there, actually. Yeah, they're small. Yeah. I'm saying mini pots. So they would come out quite easily, and I think that hole's big enough to, you know, there's only two anyway, so that would be pretty straightforward to change those if you wanted to. And the switch, you'll have the normal faffing around trying to get that through without losing the locking washer and stuff. So yeah, we can't look at that unfortunately, but we'll test it out in a bit once we plug it in, see if they work all right. Here you go. Let's have a look under the truss rod cover. Pretty much the same as we're normally seeing in these guitars. It's an Allen wrench type. There you go. That's all there is to see. Okay, let's put a new set of strings on it, plug it in, see what it sounds like. See you in a minute. So, got quite a nice ring to it. It's got a woodiness to it about it, this guitar. action, set up, out of the box. I haven't touched it. It was fine, so I've left it as it is. Today's rig, so I've got a new amp in actually. I've got a Fender Princeton, 65 Princeton, the lacquered tweed one with the 12-inch speaker that I'm using today. I did the unboxing of this and that at the weekend. It's up on the subscription channel, so some of you will have seen that already. But anyway, I'm not going to demo it. Well, I'm going to use it today. I'm going to demo it because I'm going to use it, but I'm not going to review it today. I've just plugged it in. I'm going to start using it basically, and I'll probably do a proper review of that at some point, okay? But anyway, this is what it sounds like, and I'll do a shot of the rig so you can see what the settings are. And on the board today, oh look, hang on, let me just show you what it sounds like before I go too far. Getting ahead of myself again. Right, here we go. This is what it sounds like on the neck pickup. Bridge. In between, bit of a scratchy switch, just a tiny bit. It's gone now. It's very clean, obviously very clean amp, Princeton. This one, so 12-inch speaker this one, so I think it's got a lot more headroom than the normal 10-inch speaker. So I've got on the board today a TC Spark just to push it into a little bit of overdrive. So this is just right, fully cranked on the tone and volume on the guitar, no pedals. Even if you hammer it, it's not very, still quite clean. Put a little bit of a spark booster on it and you get a, sounds like a tube screamer, doesn't it? So I've just noticed how it hasn't got any dots, you see. It hasn't got any dots. Well, it has obviously on the neck there, but you got to keep a careful eye because it's very easy to get lost on this fingerboard. I didn't realise that until just now. So that's my excuse. Also, it's a bit oily. I put some lemon oil on this fingerboard just before I put the strings on, and I can feel it. It's a little bit slippery. Oh, I've got all the excuses today, haven't I? Okay, let's stop that nonsense. Right, so where were we? Okay. Volume and tone controls. I mean volume and tone control actually, don't I? Because there's only one volume. Seems to work. Let's see if it can. That's with the spark booster on. Let's see if it'll clean up at all. It is quite dark, isn't it? That's let's just use, that's with the tone full up still. What does it sound like if we roll off the tone? Volume full up first. There's not a lot of taper there. So with that, you probably need a bit of... Maestro Fuzz-Tone, that. So it sounds pretty good, I think. I think it sounds pretty good. Obviously, I can only show you what it sounds like through the rig that I'm using at any one particular time. And I will say, obviously, this week I've used a brand new amp, and I think I still need to dial it in a little bit. You know, I'm not used to it yet. And this guitar, the pickups, you know what? I don't think they were quite punchy enough to drive the amp as much as I would have liked, perhaps. So a lot of the stuff I've done this week is very clean. I noticed there's a couple of bits where it's a little bit spiky, the clipping a little bit. So I've had to tweak a couple of those peaks in post. So yeah, it's but having said all that, it sounds pretty good. I think it's got more potential than that as well. And most of it was clean. You know, I didn't use any drive pedals as such, although I used the TC Spark to get a bit of compression. But yeah, I think the neck pickup sounds pretty good. I like the neck pickup. The bridge pickup, I don't know if it had as much character as I would have liked, but you know, they're cheap pickups, so you know, that's what we got. Again, wiring worked okay. It worked okay. You know, we've seen better. We've definitely seen worse. But you know, if you wanted to, I think it looks great, this guitar. I have to keep doing this. I have to hold it up and go, I really think it looks cool, this guitar. Great colour, great style, great brands, it's quite different. It's original. Obviously Hofner have been around, 1887, but they're not seen very often. So it looked, you know, pretty cool guitar to play. You know, if you're on stage, you know, rhythm guitar, great little rhythm guitar, and obviously you can do some riffing as well. You know, obviously researching this guitar, I discovered that, you know, Joe Strummer, one of my favourite bands of all time are The Clash. Joe Strummer played one of these in the 101ers, with the band that he was in before The Clash. Look at that. You know, it don't get any cooler than that, does it? So my inspiration for some of this week's jams, you know, that's where that came from. So yeah, really cool guitar. If you did want to upgrade it, you know, I don't think it'd be too difficult to get those pots out and new ones back in. So you could put some decent, you know, decent pickups and wiring in. As far as the hardware goes, I didn't show this on camera this week, but as an afterthought, I thought, oh, I'll just see if the Epiphone and Gibson replacement bridges that I've been mucking around with lately will fit on this straight away, and they don't. The posts are a different width, length. They're different. It won't fit, basically. The posts are in the wrong place. So it'd probably be quite difficult to find a replacement bridge for this. Just a little note. You might be confined to just maybe changing the saddles if you wanted to do that, which I imagine you could do quite easily. But I do think this is cheap enough and cool enough to make a worthwhile, you know, mod platform. You know, I say got a great neck. Really like the neck on this. Really nice. The frets, as I said earlier, not sharp, look great, feel great. However, there is a gap. Certainly it's worse up towards the nut. I'll show you. I'll drop this shot in here. You can see I can fit a 0.20mm feeler gauge between the fret and the board there. So yeah, it's not brilliant. It could probably needs a look at maybe, but it doesn't seem to affect the playability at all. So I'd probably just leave it until it became a problem, if indeed it ever did. So yeah, that's that. So in summary, I would say, well, for me personally, it's cheap enough and cool enough not to really worry about any of the kind of weaker points. You know, that can all be fixed, and it's probably worthwhile fixing on this guitar. I think it joins the other semi-hollows, you know, the Gretsch and the Guild, in that category. That it's, you know, it's affordable. This is cheaper than all of those, of course, but it's affordable enough to go, oh yeah, look, I can enjoy this as it is. Or, you know, if I really wanted to do something with it, you know, it's worth spending a little bit of money on. Okay, so this is another one that's going to go into our 335 The Rivals Part 2. if I ever get around to making it. The only delay with that has been the Squire Starcaster. The wiring still needs fixing, and I just haven't had the will to start, you know, delving inside that again. I just think the switch needs replacing, but I will get around to that, and I will then do a 5-way shootout of this, the Starfire, the Gretsch, whatever it's called, and the Squire Starcaster, and obviously the Epiphone ES335. So yeah, that'll be coming up at some point. Okay, it's also quite a long, complex film which takes ages to make that. So I've kind of been putting it off, but it's got to be done. So that's it for this week. Next Friday we'll be back with another new guitar to review, which I will be unboxing on next Monday on the TV channel, the subscription channel, theguitaristas.vhx.tv, which is where I can get away with all that sort of nonsense, you know, throwing boxes around and you know, mucking around really. I come in at the weekend and muck around, and I'm now filming that as a little weekend vlog. That'll be posted on next Monday. That's, if you're watching this the Friday that it drops on YouTube, of course. Next Monday, the unboxing of next week's guitar will drop on the TV channel, and then the review of that will drop on YouTube next Friday. So, you know, hopefully you'll catch some, if not all of that, okay? And it will involve me talking about this stuff in the garrulous way, as somebody recently described it, as normal. Someone suggested that if I talked a bit less, I'd probably get more hits on YouTube. Well, it's kind of missing the point. I do this because I enjoy it, and not really after maximum, you know, maximum clickbait. If I wanted, you know, well, if I was, I would probably just film myself eating breakfast, you know. I'd be far more popular than this nonsense. So for you guys that would rather me be talking bollocks about guitars, come back next Friday and we'll do it all again. All right. Cheers for now.